Well, Daniel and Anders Carlson are both former players at the Classical Academy. After TCA, both of them excelled at the college level, and they played their first NFL game against each other this season. Now, Daniel has become one of the best kickers in all of football. After starting his career with the Vikings, he got cut, ended up with the Raiders, and now he is as sure a leg as you're going to find. While Anders had a challenging rookie season with the Packers that ended with death threats after he missed a crucial kick in the playoffs against the 49ers. Rob Namnum caught up with the Carlson brothers earlier this week.
They have like 26 or 27 people here.
That's pretty cool.
A really cool thing happened in October. You know, Packers, Raiders, Monday Night Football, your mom and dad were there, your kids were there. Can you guys share that experience with me?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was in Vegas, so I got to host all the family that week. We never played against each other outside of a million times in the backyard, maybe. So in that environment, to get to play against each other in a real NFL game, it was just such a blessing.
It's weird, when I play like a friend or something, I can kind of say what's up to them before the game and then focus on what I'm doing. But I guess just him being a brother, like I was always like, my brother's on the other team the whole time. I was like, yeah, there he is again. I see him, across the field. So it was very different in a special way.
Get to sit back and enjoy soaking in some moments in pregame and throughout the game of like, wow, this is really cool to watch your sibling, compete at the highest level. And there's some conflict of emotions there during the game where it's like, when he's out there, I obviously personally hope he makes it, but it's like, that's not good for the team either. So I'm glad we won.
My parents, they loved it more than anyone. So,
the Raiders, silver and black, bad mamma jammas, right? Bad dudes. You're a mild-mannered Christian guy. How do you mesh in with the Raiders?
Yeah, I think it's like being a kicker sometimes on a football team. We have some hard nose-hitting linebackers, and, sometimes I'm a little different position. But, yes, there is that side of, hey, you're going to fear the Raiders. But I don't know if the kicker is necessarily a huge part of that equation. I do hope they fear when I'm out there to make a kick, maybe. But, I don't think that's necessarily my role.
Anders, you had the playoff experience this year, and in that last game you missed the kick, and some in Packers Nation kind of got on you. How did you deal with that, and how did you handle all of that?
Yeah, I think, those moments are super tough. I think, as a kicker, and, most kickers are perfectionists, you want to do it because you've perfected your craft and you want to be great. It's just tough to come back in a locker room knowing that, you had a play that, impacted the game like that. Toughest part is you got to wait a whole another year to get back. There's not a next week or next opportunity. But yeah, adversity comes and it's how you handle the adversity that really makes you. So,
but you guys ever talk about, there's only so many kicking jobs in this planet, right? In the NFL, and you're two of the 30-something kickers in the National Football League. You guys ever think about that? Man, I have this job that most people don't have.
Absolutely. I think there's, we're 2 of 32 in the league. So we're 1/16th of the league. It's pretty cool that, we growing up from kids and, we were soccer players and tennis players and, to see where we are now.
We have the jerseys on with our last names, but there's so many great people, and especially in Colorado Springs that got us there. And if it weren't for them, all the coaches and, our parents, our family, some great newscasters, obviously, too. Weren't for the people of our past, we wouldn't have a chance. So, God wrote a cool story for us, and we're enjoying that story right now.